There are some things you read and forget within seconds. And then there are some that quietly settle somewhere within you, refusing to leave. It was an ordinary evening, the kind that slips past unnoticed. My phone screen glowed faintly as I scrolled through yet another matrimonial group. An endless stream of lives reduced to neat little summaries. Height, complexion, salary, family background, preferences listed like filters as though human connections could be sorted and selected. I wasn't searching for anything, just scrolling, until I stopped. Name Asha. Age 30. Qualification PhD. Assistant professor in a reputed university. Visually challenged, but can do all her work on her own. I read it once, then again. It wasn't the PhD that held me there, not the job, not even the honesty. It was that last line. Can do all her work on her own. At first, it felt like a clarification, the kind you add hoping someone won't misunderstand. And for reasons I couldn't explain then, that line stayed with me. Welcome back to The Sound of a Quiet Voice Season 4, the premiere. Episode 31, The Line That Stayed, featuring She Was Never the Burden, a story penned by AeVey J.
A little thought, a tiny whisper. Did you hear it yet? A ripple forming, quietly break, growing gently into a wave. That's the sound of a quiet voice.
She was never the burden. Long before Asha became a profile on a screen, she was a child in a home that felt alive. Her mother Shanta was at the center of it, not loudly, not visibly, but in the way that keeps everything from falling apart. The mornings began with the familiar aroma of tea, the soft rhythm of daily rituals, the clatter of steel vessels, and the unrestrained laughter of two young girls. It was not a grand life. It was something rarer. It was peaceful. Shanta had married into what most would call a good family. Her husband served in the army. There was stability, structure, a sense of certainty about how life would unfold in time. Their home filled with presence of two daughters. If you had seen her then, you would have said she was settled. And in many ways, she was. But life does not always break with noise. Sometimes it changes quietly. A habit that grows unnoticed, a silence that lingers longer than it should, a distance that no one quite knows how to close. There was no single moment that marked the end. No dramatic unraveling, just a gradual shift until one day there was nothing left to hold together. The separation came without spectacle. No legal finality, no loud conclusions. Just a quiet understanding that the life she knew had ended. And suddenly, Shanta stood in a world that felt unfamiliar, with two daughters beside her and no clear map of what came next. The Days that followed demanded more from her than she had ever been asked to give. Decisions she once shared were now hers alone. Responsibilities multiplied. Uncertainty became constant. Her family stood by her. They offered support, as families do. But Shanta made a choice that would define everything that followed. She chose to stand on her own. Not because she lacked support, but because she wanted her daughters to grow up watching strength, not dependence. So she worked, through fear, through doubt, through days when exhaustion sat quietly behind her smile. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, she built her life. Not perfectly, but firmly. Just when life began to feel steady again, it shifted once more. Asha, her firstborn, the quieter one, the one who observed more than she spoke. The diagnosis came like a quiet verdict: retinal degeneration, a gradual loss of sight. A future that would not look the way anyone had imagined. There are moments in life that don't allow for immediate reaction. They demand understanding first. Shanta did not break down in front of her daughters. She did not question fate out loud. But she understood. She understood the weight of what lay ahead, not just for Asha, but in a world that often struggles to see beyond limitations. And yet she did what she had always done. She held steady. What followed was not what one might expect. Asha did not retreat into her condition. She adapted. If her sight was fading, she sharpened everything else. She listened more carefully. She remembered more deliberately. She learned to navigate a world that was changing on her own terms. When exams came, she used a scribe, not as a compromise, but as a strategy. And then she did something remarkable. She excelled. School topper, district topper, not because she was trying to prove something to the world, but because she refused to reduce herself to what she was losing. Somewhere along her journey, she arrived at a truth many of us spend a lifetime avoiding. Acceptance is not surrender. It is clarity. It is choosing not to spend your life resisting what is already real and instead building something meaningful with what remains. And independence, she redefined that too. Because independence is not about doing everything alone. It is about knowing when to ask for help without feeling smaller for it. It is about moving forward without apology. In the quiet background of all this was Meeta, the younger daughter. She grew up watching strength, not as an idea but as a daily practice. A mother who refused to collapse, a sister who refused to slow down. When you grow up in the presence of resilience long enough, it stops feeling extraordinary. It becomes your normal. And so she carried it forward into her studies, her career, her life. Eventually, her path took her far from home, into a world she built for herself. But the foundation remained the same: strong, quiet, unshakable. There is something else that stayed with me as I came to know their story. In a society where daughters are still in some corners seen as less. Shanta never once looked at her children with regret. She did not wish for a son. She did not see her daughters as lacking. What she raised instead were women who carried strength without arrogance, resilience without bitterness, and dignity without needing validation. And somewhere along the way, it made me pause. Because we speak so often about empowerment, about feminism, and yet we seem to have mistaken its form. It is not always loud. It is not always confrontational. It is not rooted in dominance. Sometimes it looks like this: a woman rebuilding her life from nothing, a daughter redefining what independence means, another carrying that legacy forward without noise. To me, they are more than individuals. Shanta reflects Durga, a name given to a Hindu goddess who represents strength and protection, the kind of quiet power that stands its ground and fights life's battles without recognition. Asha embodies Saraswati, the goddess of knowledge and wisdom, a reminder that the mind can illuminate paths even when the world grows dark. Meeta carries Lakshmi, the goddess of abundance and possibility, proof that resilience can grow into a life that expands far beyond its beginnings. And even if these names are unfamiliar, the idea is not. Because across cultures, across countries, across beliefs, we have always tried to name these qualities: strength, wisdom, resilience, growth. Together they embody what we call Nari Shakti, the strength of womanhood. Not as a slogan, not as a movement, but as something lived, quietly, consistently, and without permission. And yet, I find myself returning to that line. Can do all her work on her own. The first time I read it, it felt like a justification, but now it feels different. Because that line does not belong to Asha. It belongs to a world that often hesitates before it understands. A world that needs reassurance before it offers respect. Maybe it was written by someone who loves her, someone who has seen her strength up close and simply wanted others to look a little closer before they judged. Not as a disclaimer, but as an invitation. Don't assume, don't dismiss, just see her. Because Asha never lived her life trying to prove she wasn't a burden. She lived it knowing she wasn't one. There is a difference. One comes from fear, the other comes from clarity. And Asha has always been clear. We admire stories like hers. We share them, we celebrate them, we call them inspiring. But when life places someone like her in front of us, not as a story but as a choice, something changes. Do we still respond with the same admiration, or do we hesitate? Do we quietly calculate what it might require of us? Do we measure their strength against their circumstance? Among thousands of profiles that ask for perfection, I wonder, will there ever be one that reads differently, looking for someone worthy enough to stand beside her? Some stories are not meant to comfort you. They are meant to stay with you, to challenge you, to hold a mirror you didn't ask for. Because the truth is simple. She was never the burden. The question is, were we strong enough to deserve someone like her? This is Season 4 of The Sound of a Quiet Voice, the premiere, Episode 31, The Line That Stayed. Some voices are never loud, but if you listen closely, they change you forever. Spread the word, spread love. Take care. With love, AeVey Speaks.